$50 per share.
We don't use that numbers. Yeah, we don't use that numbers. Okay.
So in these examples, the expenses increase and the shareholders' equity also increases at the like when you're recognizing the compensation expense, the shareholders' equity is also increasing, right? For this one?
Shareholders
for the paid in capital stock options and the compensation expense?
No, not really. Not really.
No.
Because remember, compensation expense gonna decrease retained earnings, right?
Right. Okay.
And paid in capital increase, the paid in capital decrease retained earnings, so total shareholder equity is still the same.
Okay. Okay. I understand.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, any other question about this? Let's work on this. What do you get?
D.
Yeah, so you see you have several prices, right? D is correct? So you see the several prices here, right? Okay. Yeah, D is correct. Okay. So because what? You look at several prices. One is what? Remember the total stock option is 30,000, right? So you have a price can be exercised to acquire the $12. $12 is what? You call the exercise price, right? So employee, they want to exercise, they need to pay $12 per shares. Okay. So then we have a fair value. This is the estimate. Remember, estimate fair value option to be $5. This is the one you're going to use, right, to calculate total combination. Okay, 5 times 30,000 shares, right? You got 150. Okay, you don't use this. These are not relevant. Okay, not relevant. Okay, so then the vesting period is what? It's 3 years, right? So from here, this is date of grant until here, right? So those are 3 years. That's why you divide by 3. Okay, so annual expenses should be $50,000. So now let's extend the discussion. Okay, so no matter with this stock option or the stock award, okay, we talk about the first two situations, right? No matter which situation, we have this called forfeiture issues. Okay, forfeiture issues means what? Remember, those people need to work for us for certain periods, right? So for several years in order to fully receive those stock or those stock options. Okay, so what if those people, some people are gonna quit the job, right? And they won't be able to receive it. Okay, we call that forfeiture. So how to deal with that forfeiture? Okay, so let's say January 2016, the company grants stock option. This is the option, right? So that permit the key executive to acquire 10 millions of shares within next 8 years. but not before this, right? So this is the example, same example, right? So this is called vesting date. The exercise price is market price of share on the date of grant, $35, right? That's the exercise price. And the fair value of the option we estimate is $8 per option. Okay. So what we're gonna do is you want to calculate first, right? So calculate what is the total compensation, right? Which is $8 times 10 millions. You got $80 million is the total compensation, right? So that's what we talk about, the previous example. But now let's say we have this, because for feature rate is 5%, it's expected. So again, what is forfeiture rate? It's forfeiture is, some people are gonna leave, right? Gonna leave the company, okay? Within 4 years, right? Remember this from January 2016 until December 31, 2019. These are 4 years, okay? With so-called a vesting period. Some people might left, okay? So those executives might leave the company, okay, during that time, okay? If they leave, then we won't give them the stock options. Okay, so we call that forfeiture. So we need to basically at this moment, on date of grant on January 1st, 2016, we need to estimate what's the possibility some people are going to leave the company. Okay, so we believe 5% of the options will not be granted. Okay, because some people are going to leave. Okay. So then, but actually this is our estimate, okay? And then for the first 2 years, we estimate 5%. But during the third year, we also revise the estimate. But let's talk about the 5% first, okay, for first 2 years. Okay. Again, so total compensation should be 80s, right? So 8 times 10, right? So 80s, but because only 95 gonna be realized, right? 5% gonna be gone. Okay, we won't issue those stock options, basically, right? So that's why total compensation should be 80 times 95. Okay, 80 times 95. That should be the total compensation. Okay, 80 times 95. So then we're gonna allocate over these 4 years, right? Then divided by 4. Okay, so each year you recognize compensation expenses 19 only. Okay, for the first year 19, second year we're gonna do 19 again, right? For 19. Is this okay, everyone? With that so far? Question? Again, they were trying to estimate those potential. Some people may not, finish those 4 years, right? So that's why we estimate, like this, 5% chance, 5% going to be forfeiture rate. Okay, so you only recognize 95% of 80 as a total compensation. So for first 2 years, but then during the third year, they said actually it's not 5%, it should be 10%. Okay, what are we gonna do? If it's 10%, what are we gonna do? So 10%, that means what? 80, now 80 times 10%. I mean, actually 90%, right? 80 times 90%. So total compensation should be 72, right? Should be 72. Okay. Total compensation. And if you 72 is divided by 4, you're gonna get what? 18, right? Is that right? 18. So it should be 18, not 19. Okay. So the annual compensation expenses should be 18, not 19. Okay. So what we're gonna do in the year 2018, the third year. Remember, it should be 18, right? But the first year you over recognize by 1. Second year you recognize another 1. So now this third year you want to recognize 16 only.
Why 16?
That makes sense? Because it's supposed to be 18, right? It's supposed to be 18, 18, 18. But they recognize 19, 19. Then this year it's supposed, okay, let me write it down. It's supposed to be like 18, 18, 18. This is the first year, right? Second year and the third year. So what we did, we recognized 19, right? 19. So what are we gonna do for this year? Because those 2 years we already over recognized one, right? So now this year we're gonna adjust, make it only 16. That makes sense, everyone?
Did you say it should be 18 if the forfeiture rate was 10%, was 90% instead of 95?
Yeah, 10%.
Okay.
Yeah, she said, because on the third year, we realized it should be 10%, not the 5%. Right? If it's 10%, then 80 times 90%, that's going to be 72, right? 72 divided by 4, you should have 18. Okay, so each year you should recognize 18, but because the first 2 years you already recognize 19, that's why the third year you want to adjust down, right? So by 2, okay, so because you over recognized by 2 millions. So this year is not 18, 18 you want to adjust down, you make it like 18 minus 2, okay, so you got a 16.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, oh, you can do like this, right? So this is, it's supposed to be 72, right? So now first 3 years, it should be 3 over 4. And then you minus the first year minus second year, then the remaining part should be the third year. Okay, so no matter what, right? So you have the way to calculate that's how we calculate 16, and then we still gonna credit paid-in cashback stock options. How about the third year? How about the fourth year? Fourth year should be 18, right? This is supposed to be 18, remember, right? So then just recognize 18. So total gonna be 72, right? So in this case, first year 19, second year 19, third year 16, the fourth year 18. Total is 72. 80 times, because 80 times 90%. Okay, we call that for feature rate.
So the 4 years still have the journal entry, even though they are for forfeiture rate for 3 years.
The 4 years we didn't revise the estimate. It's still 10%. The fourth year. Okay. Again, the first 2 years is based on our estimate 5%. That's why we got a 19, right? And the third year, because we want to make adjustment, you recognize 16. And the fourth year, you recognize 18. Those are the 4 years competition expense. Totally is 72 millions, okay? Which is 80%, 80 millions times 90%.
Hi, Professor.
Yes.
So for that journal entry, we just stopped on the December 31st on 2019, right?
Okay. Yes. The last one, right? Yes.
Yeah, this is the last one that we will. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, everything at the end of the year. Okay, at the end of the year. So these are 4 journals are both. Everyone has the journal at the end of the year. Any other question regarding this for feature? For feature, okay. What's the time right now? Oh, yeah, it's a time already, so I think. Yeah, let me just use 1 minute to briefly talk about this, and then we're gonna continue next time. Okay. So regarding the vesting, remember, vesting means what? They had to work. For example, the previous example, they need to work for us for 4 years, right, to fully receive these stock options. We call it vesting. Okay. So then there is a 2 kinds of vesting. Okay. One we call the cliff vesting. All of the stock option stock gonna be vested on one single day. That's the example we have. Okay. After 4 years, everything gonna be vested. Okay, so we call the cliff vesting. You already know how to do it, right? So that's the previous example. But in reality, we have a lot of graded vesting. Okay, graded vesting. So those vesting, okay, those stock options of stock gonna be gradually become eligible. Okay, so part of that's gonna be vested this next year, part of that next year, part of that next year. Okay, so in reality, most of the stock awards or stock option awards are the graded vesting. Okay, so like this. So the company award, like issue a stock option awards. Okay, so 25% can be vested in the first year, and another 25 going to be vested in the second year, and 50% going to vest in the third year. okay? The vesting period is different. So how to deal with that? How to deal with that? The one method is to use the stock option method, right? So we use stock option method. That option method can estimate the whole things, okay, as the whole through different group together, okay? So we're gonna figure out the stock option the value, okay, and then we use that value times the total stock options to calculate the total composition. Okay, so that's the single fair value method. But more popular method is what? We actually gonna separate. Okay, so we're gonna separate those three. Okay, 25% of those stock options, and first 25, second 25, and then 50. So we're gonna separate into three different options. Then we're gonna calculate. We're gonna estimate the fair value for each options. Okay, and then we'll combine that together. So that will be the example. Okay, so I think we've run out of time. So we're gonna talk about this example later, next time. So let's go to the canvas. Okay, so you can log into canvas to